Now we have the two arms of our harp running parallel with each other. I want a little bit of taper on there. A tapered reed is going to work way better. Good thing to have for consistency, because after you find the tapers that work for you and the lengths that work for you, get yourself, this is just a cheap caliper, digital caliper, and I'm going to work in millimeters here. I have 4.18 at the beginning of my embouchures of decks. And then here at the end, I have 3.62. I'm going to take this down to about 2.5. Now, the ways I move these inward and outward, if I want to move the bottoms inward and outward, I'll clamp it in the vise at an angle like this. If I want to move this arm, I'll clamp it in an angle so it'll put pressure on this side. If I want to move this side, I'll clamp it like that. But I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to move the tips. So I'm going to clamp it at the beginning, right past the beginning of my embouchures. Clamp it in there nice. I'm just going to put gentle pressure. Well, actually, this isn't gentle pressure since I don't cut any reliefs in. I want strength. I got to put quite a bit of pressure. I'm going to move in, pushing with my 2x4. And this is the reason right here that I'm eventually going to be getting a more expensive, more professional Wilton vise with double lockdowns. You're putting pressure in, moving our arms inward. And after we get done doing this, we're going to have to check and make sure that we're still running straight. Here I have 3.26. I need to come in just a little bit more. Sometimes it helps to have two wood. It hopped right off the shelf there. Now 2 pieces of wood. I'm pushing it toward each other and also off to the side. I'm walking it back and forth. And watch which arms need to be moved. You don't want to just move one, you want to move both of them forward. Okay, there we go. There we moved it in quite a bit there. And I like to work in millimeters because working in standard fractions. Oh, we're at 2.37, which is a little bit too much. I'm going to move it right back out a little bit. And how I do this, let's see what arm I want to move out. I want to move this arm here back out just a hair. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clamp it back in at that same particular spot. I'm going to take my pliers. Best pliers I found for this aren't expensive. They're the CT pliers. You find them at your local Tractor Supply or Orchland's. They're about $8. And I like to also get little leather carrying case for them. It works out real good. I use them at work all the time. They work well as a hammer, a screwdriver, pry bar. They're tough as nails and they're cheap. I got a piece of an old leather belt, and this really comes in handy once your harp's finished and you don't want to scratch it. This little piece of leather here, put it on there, and I'm just gonna pull, just spread just a little bit. Mine went just a little bit too far. Let's see where we're at here. 3.08, I'm going to go back in just a hair. If I keep it heavier toward the front end, I'm going to come with a lower tuning. The skinnier I make it toward the front end, the higher in tone it's going to be because there's going to be less weight against it. Here we have 2.92. Well, going just a little bit more. Little bit more, little bit more. Come on, man. Come on in. Sometimes a little bit more is hard. Sometimes I'll go back and forth trying to get a little bit more, a little bit less. 2.75, that's, yeah, 2.75. That's about right for the length I need. And I can't tell you exact lengths and exact widths and exact tapers that are going to work with your material. You're just going to have to start building, and you're going to have to see what works, and it's going to be trial and error. I've got, as far as errors go, I've got piles and piles of harps that don't work well, piles of misbent harps. It's okay to make mistakes. That's why I like working with the cheaper material like 3/16 steel. So if you make a mistake bending a harp, it's not a whole lot of money out of your pocket. And there's a lot of things that we can do here toward the end that are going to help prevent rust on harps. But here we've got our tapers and everything. Now I'm going to cut a small relief into the end of this harp. This is a 3 square file, most often used for sharpening saws. It also works on adjustable locking pliers. I'm just going to file just a small relief. This is where I'm going to make my trigger bend. Now, you don't have to do this. A lot of harp makers don't do this. It's just something that I like. Like a little bit of relief where I bend my trigger so that if you miss strike, you won't get a click as easily. Now there's going to be a slight burr on the end where I filed this. We're going to take it back over the wire wheel and we're going to knock that off. I just want to get the very end. I don't want that wire wheel getting into my embouchure area and dulling it, so I just want to knock a little bit of burr off that end. Smoothness.